Hey guys, do you like Curious George and remember watching the PBS Kids series? Well then, I'm going to read you a Curious George story. It's called The Donut Delivery. George is always a good monkey when he's asleep. But no monkey wants to sleep through Saturday. This was a Saturday that cried out for something special. Donuts, the man with the yellow hat announced. That was special. Well, next to bananas, donuts were George's favorite food. How about eggs with those donuts? The man asked George. Please count how many we have and write it down. But when George looked for the eggs, he found there were none left to count. There are no eggs? The man asked. Well, why didn't you write 0? George didn't know how. The man with the yellow hat and George. The man with the yellow hat sat George down with some paper and a pad. See, George, the man said. 0 alone means no eggs. None. But 0 after other numbers makes them mean a lot more. If we put a 0 after 1, that's 10. Write another 0, and that's 100. George stared hungrily at the zeros. They reminded him of donuts. Luckily for George and his empty stomach, they headed out to buy the groceries. The man stopped up in front of a market. He said, I'll go in here and buy eggs while you get the donuts, okay? George nodded as the man wrote down his order. The note said, 1 dozen donuts, please. As George headed to the donut shop, Charky, a friendly little dog from the neighborhood, joined him. She wanted to play, but George was too busy to stop, so she followed him into the shop. George noticed that his order only had a little 1 on it. That did not seem like a lot for a monkey who really was hungry. George saw a pencil on the counter. He grabbed it and drew a 0 after the 1. Now the note reads 10 dozen donuts. Then George wrote down another 0 before Mrs. D came to take his order. George, Charky, good to see you. Is that an order from your friend with the yellow hat? George handed over the paper. 1 dozen donuts, she exclaimed. That's her biggest order ever. Mrs. D hurried away to tell her husband in the kitchen. Soon, Mrs. D started piling box after box on the counter. George grew worried. He hadn't realized what his zeros would do. 99, 100. You can't possibly carry all that, George, Mrs. D said. Lucky for you, we have a delivery service. Mrs. D bustled off to get some help, but George did not wait around. George did not wait around. He grabbed 1 box of donuts and ran away with Charky. George was not quick enough. Mrs. D's entire family was soon right behind him with her towering boxes of donuts. He must be running late. It took too long to make the donuts, Mrs. D cried as she rushed after George. When George reached his apartment, he jumped from balcony to balcony, trying to get home as quickly as possible. At first, George thought he was safe from the donut delivery. He sat down to catch his breath after running all the way home. But it wasn't long before the doorman showed up with the D family right up to his apartment. Soon, 100 boxes of donuts crowded the room. George looked around. He had to do something before his friend came home. Suddenly, he had an idea. When the man with the yellow hat walked in carrying the groceries, he saw only one box of donuts on the table. "These smell so good," the man said. "I'm sorry I didn't ask you to buy more than 1 dozen. Was George able to hide all those donuts? Not for long. George explained to the man that he had added some zeros to the order. "Well, at least you learned something," the man said. "But what are we going to do with all these donuts?" They came up with a good solution. George got 1 dozen donuts, like he was supposed to, and some hardworking firefighters to get the rest. "How many left, George?" the man asked at the end of the day. George ate the last donut from a box and held up his fingers in an O shape. 0. So George had a little mess up. He got 100 dozen donuts, but he could have gotten 1 for himself and the man with the yellow hat. So it comes to no surprise that too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Anyways, thanks for watching and hearing me read this Curious George story. If you like Curious George and want more Curious George content, make sure to like this video, comment below what other story or Curious George story you want me to read, and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and turn on the notification bell so you can get an alert whenever a new video is posted. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching JL Vids. Stay tuned for more content relating to Curious George, and you can watch Curious George on PBS Kids and even Peacock.